Monday, August 29, 2005, 11:06 a.m. I'm extremely grateful that I didn't see the massive wave coming toward us. And even more grateful that Tom didn't tell me to look at it, as I am certain I would have had a stroke or heart attack. I can't imagine having more panic and fear. The wave approached quickly, and Tom knew it. If we had not made the decision to get out of the house at the exact moment, we surely would have drowned by the relentless crushing wave that battered us. Just as the wave reached the edge of the balcony, I grabbed the hot tub cover. The cover was folded in half. Tom managed to stand and grab me in the cover. We each held on to one side. Within a nanosecond, and with perfect timing, Tom pushed me into the 30-foot wall of water. We both held the cover, and Tom clutched the sheet as we were instantly whisked away by the water's fury. The current was strong. It was also dirty, salty, and moved quickly. I felt as if something was slowing me down. I soon realized it was my jogging pants I had put on earlier. I thought for a brief time I could possibly drown as I was hanging on to dear life to the hot tub cover. I knew that I had to quickly get out of my pants, as Tom continued to hang on to the sheet wrapped around me and to the cover. I tried to listen to his instructions, to accomplish my task, while praying to God at the same time. I could barely hear him, but I saw the fear on his face. We were in trouble. While removing my pants, I lost both of my shoes. 11:07 a.m. The water was moving us fast in tandem. Neither one of us knew where we were headed as we struggled to remain afloat. Then Tom spotted a tree. "Liz, you have to get into that tree." "How can I?" "Don't worry, the water will take you there." Tom was right. It only took a few seconds for us to reach the tree. We both got there at the same time. We were about to be whisked away by the current, and fortunately, there was a chain from a swing set lodged in the tree. The chain was wrapped in plastic with one metal triangle on each end. If those triangles weren't there, I don't know how I could have gotten into the tree. With all the strength I could muster, I grabbed the triangles frantically, one in each hand, as I pulled myself up into the tree. Tom was unable to assist me, and worse, there wasn't room for him, and he let go of the sheet, and the raging water swept him away. I thought I'd never see him again. On a side note, several weeks later, I discovered the chain was part of our neighbor's children's swing set, and the tree I was in was not rooted in the ground. It had just blown up against a pine tree. My heart pounded. As soon as I felt safe and secure, I realized how hard and fast I was breathing. I knew immediately I had to slow it down before I had a heart attack. I started thinking about my daughter Amy, and I could hear her voice inside my head. "Mom, breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth." That is exactly what I did, and as soon as I began to breathe better, I turned around and looked toward the lake. What I saw next scared me to death. Our master bedroom closet, carried by the rushing water, was heading straight for me. I'm going to be crushed to death by my dream closet. How in the world could that part of my house be coming straight for me? I didn't have any time to think, only react. I lifted my legs and used the bottom of my feet and pushed the closet away from me. Thank God it was weightless due to the water, which enabled me to push it out of the way. No doubt my adrenaline helped me too. I shudder to think if I had not turned around exactly when I did, I would have been hit in the back of my head by that portion of my closet. 11:11 a.m. As I watched the top of our closet slowly sink into the floodwaters of Katrina, I looked toward the bayou. and saw Tom. He was alive, still hanging onto the hot tub cover and being whisked away by the waves. He didn't see me look at him, and I'm glad he hadn't. If he had, he would have certainly seen the look of desperation I had on my face. I'm not sure why, but I looked down at my watch. It was 11:11 a.m. Alone, exhausted, wet, and about 20 feet up in a tree, I could feel the ferocious winds and see the violent waves. I tried to block the fear by using mind over matter. I felt safe and wasn't afraid anymore for some odd reason that I can't explain. It may sound bizarre and hard to imagine. Even though the warm salt water was up to my neck, in some ways it was comforting. It was such an eerie, surreal moment in my life. It was also a lonely feeling. It was just me, in a tree, and an endless lake of waves and whitecaps. Then, a dose of reality hit me in my face. I'm going to die. I knew that my life was near the end, but I was okay with that, because I felt God's presence and His majesty. It felt as if I were wrapped tightly in His arms and was under His protection. With His presence, I stopped being scared and began to focus on staying alive. I think that fear propelled my strength by turning it into hope. There is no other alternative answer for me. 3 p.m. It was a come to Jesus minute that felt more like 24 hours. I prayed hard and talked to God as I was clinging to the tree. The floodwater was still up to my neck, and the wind blew so hard and the force of the water strong. I thought that I was going to be swept into the side of the house nearest to me. This only served me to hang on tighter. Thoughts of Tom weighed constantly, and I prayed for his safety. Oh, I had many other concerns and worries while up in the tree, so many. I felt as if my brain was going to overload like the Transformers already had. Is this how I'm going to die? Are my children safe? Is Tom alive? I couldn't close my eyes for a moment because I felt if I did, it would all be over. That, and the fact I thought I'd go out fighting with my eyes wide open. I wasn't going to die with them closed. Not me, no way. And not today. I think I was desperately trying to convince myself. God, am I going to die? Although I had no way of knowing how strong the winds were. I believe it must have been at Katrina's maximum wind strength, predicted by the Weather Channel, of 125 miles per hour. How can I possibly hang on? God, is this the way I'm going to die? God answered my question without saying a word. I was alive and hanging on. With every second, I became stronger, knowing that God was protecting me. But it certainly wasn't over, and neither were my prayers. I kept a vigil eye on Chuck and Charlene's house. I was certain that if their house got knocked off the foundation, it would crash directly into me because of the way the water was flowing. It was also a warning that if this indestructible house on pilings crashed, then all would be lost. I also kept my eye on their pier, which was still standing, because at the end of it was the Blessed Mother Mary. I have an internal battle until this day about this. I feel it important to say that a Blessed Mother statue isn't a part of my neighbor's landscaping, nor one of my own. But I saw her. She was very weathered and worn as she stood proudly at the end of the pier. She was 20 feet tall. I kept wondering where she came from. I'm losing my mind. She isn't supposed to be there. Is this real? Am I seeing the Blessed Mother? Could it be a statue? You can't imagine the confusion I felt. Wait, you can't imagine the despair that resonated deep within me. I knew what I was seeing was real. I had plenty of questions to myself and to my psyche. How? Why? No, it can't be. But it is. She is there. When hell was breaking loose all around me, the Blessed Mother was there. Statue or vision, she was at the end of that pier, for me and only me. There wasn't anyone else around but us. Just me perched in the tree, and her poised amid chaos. Katrina's destructive force couldn't touch her, but she touched me. I struggled, convincing myself to the authenticity of the Blessed Mother. How can she remain upright? Nothing is standing. But the Blessed Mother is. No way. Yes, way. She's there, and she is real. I could barely hold on to the tree, while the Blessed Mother never moved an inch after her arrival. I am convinced that my vision of the Blessed Mother was there to give me comfort and to occupy my mind. And that is exactly what she provided for me. 3:01 p.m. It felt like an eternity while balanced in that tree. But somehow, I managed to keep myself busy by thinking about anything and anyone. I kept a constant eye on the lake and on Chuck and Charlene's house, especially their pier. No matter where I looked, each time I returned my glance back to their pier, the Blessed Mother was still there standing tall when I looked back. Seriously? Seriously? I will never forget seeing the Blessed Mother when I needed her most. Somehow, I gained a renewed strength, a strength to continue my fight for my life. The salt from the water would build up in my eyes and create a hard crust over both, making it nearly impossible to see. To wipe off the crust, I had to let go of the tree and use my free hand to scrape it away. This routine went on for hours, and each time I let go, I worried I would fall into the water. I had to take the chance because I didn't have any other options. The way I sat in the tree was extremely uncomfortable and cut off my circulation to my legs and feet. I knew for certain they must have turned blue. I couldn't feel them, and I knew that if I fell into the water, I would sink and drown because I wouldn't be able to use them. I knew by instinct that I needed to get the blood circulating in my limbs so I could swim in the event I fell in the rushing waters below. To regain feeling in my legs and feet was extremely difficult and exhausting. I raised my entire body up with my hands, holding onto 2 limbs of the tree with them, and forced my body into a vertical position. Then, I wiggled my legs and feet to get my blood circulating again. I continued to do that every 30 minutes. The difficulty in making this maneuver was complicated by the wind, which kept pounding forcefully into my chest, driving me almost out of the tree. Then, without notice, the wind whipped me from the back. Each time I managed to hold on with one hand to keep me from going into the water. This exhausted me and caused me to grow weaker. It was increasingly more difficult to hold myself up with each passing second. I fought the exhaustion for what seemed like an eternity to my tormented and worn body and soul, Then I gave up. I screamed at God. God, I am just too tired to go on. Please take me home. I can't do this. I am ready to die. 3:06 p.m. One of my greatest fears in life is drowning. I am also claustrophobic. I couldn't bear the thought of not being able to breathe. I begged God to electrocute me or let something bite me. I'd settle for being eaten by an alligator from the bayou. Anything but drown. So, I accepted my fate that I was going to die. Once I surrendered to God, I felt a peace that I have never known. Then, as well as now. God wasn't finished testing me, as evidenced by me living. At that moment of my final despair plea, an enormous amount of strength burst into me, bringing a resurgence of energy. It felt as if someone blew breath into me, giving me strength to withstand the torture. With my renewed strength, my will to survive returned. I didn't realize it at the time, but I do now. It was God that put the strength back into me.